This episode is a masterpiece, a certified 10 out of 10 experience, and the best episode of this arc thus far. Why? Well, because Iono returns. Her presence turns any episode into an absolute banger. Okay, I am of course exaggerating. Mostly. Only a little bit. It is true that I love Iono, which is why I am always delighted to see her. She's just so charming, funny, and energetic that it's almost impossible not to smile when she's on screen. I love her even more now because I finally realized in this episode who voices her in Japanese. Kaede Hondo, someone I've grown to like tremendously over the past year or so, since she has been popping up in more and more anime and even games. It's embarrassing that it took me this long to figure it out, considering that I pride myself in my ability to identify Japanese voice actors. But I guess that perhaps the last time we saw Iono, I had not committed Kaede Hondo's lovely voice to memory quite so well, since I had not heard her as much or as often as I have now. The point is that a great voice actor, especially one you love, can elevate a character further, which is the case with Iono for me, greatly enhancing my enjoyment of this episode and of any future episodes where she appears. It's also true that this is indeed an amazing and fantastic episode, but not just because of Iono. Dot is also to blame for its superb quality, since this episode finally brought her back into the spotlight. Prior to this episode, she was relegated to a supporting role, appearing infrequently and usually remotely, seen only via Rotom phone. I criticized this demotion of her role and screen time a couple of times in previous reviews. It's honestly been one of the weaknesses of this arc, but I had hope that this wasn't going to be permanent, and thankfully it wasn't. Dot finally takes center stage again, and I couldn't be happier. Better yet, she returns not just physically, but also narratively, since this episode focuses entirely on her and Iono, to the point that Liko and Roy are almost completely absent, appearing only briefly at the end of the episode. However, even if the spotlight is finally and completely on Dot, this wouldn't do her much good if she wasn't also given meaningful and important things to do. But this episode manages to do just that, and it does so brilliantly. What Dot gets to do in this episode, tracking down a Stunfisk that is causing trouble, figuring out what's going on with it and how it relates to Laqueum, and battling its trainer, fellow streamer and Stunfisk superfan Magyorō, is not only important and meaningful, but also directly tied to the overarching narrative. These assignments help Levincia and Iono by solving a serious problem they were facing, while also reinforcing the growing threat of the strong spheres and how powerful and dangerous they truly are. Better yet, these challenges fit Dot perfectly. They showcase her intellect and inquisitive nature, which always allow her to find rational answers behind even the biggest mysteries. They also highlight her strategic, careful battling style that defines her and sets her apart from Liko and Roy. So this episode beautifully recenters Dot. It reaffirms her value as a trainer, as an individual, and as a character, a main character at that, by letting her take initiative rather than operate behind a screen, and by allowing her to show off her trademark analytical thinking, clever battle strategy, and love for streaming, all without losing her signature awkwardness and the dry humor, and while still caring deeply for her Pokemon. Speaking of her Pokemon, I also love that Tinkatuff was finally given the chance to shine. I've always been a strong advocate for more second Pokemon screen time, but sadly Horizons has been kind of 50-50 in this department. Mega Voltage has done a better job though, Episode 94 being a great example of this, since Hattrem got to terastalize for the first time and even learned a new move. This gave me hope that Kilowattrel and the Tinkatuff would get the same treatment. Well, episode 97 makes this a reality with Tinkatuff, who terastalizes for the first time and learns a new move as well. This almost guarantees that Kilowattrel will get the same spotlight soon. Even better, the move Tinkatuff learns is Metal Claw, a steel-type move, one of her two types and a type she previously lacked in her move pool. Also, whether by coincidence or design, her Terra type is Steel, not Fairy, allowing her to boost this new move. Also, it's cool that she learns Metal Claw by using Brutal Swing to deflect Electro Web. On top of this, she simply battles well, with her trademark clumsiness as seen when she swings, her heavy hammer wildly desperately trying to land a hit, brute strength as seen when she powers through everything thrown her way, and unyielding spirit as seen when she refuses to give up even after taking a lot of damage. Even in the heat of combat, she is fun and endearing to watch, not to mention that you cannot help but root for her. Dot's love for and belief in her also shines through, as her support is one of the reasons why Tinkatuff refuses to back down. This wonderfully highlights the beauty and strength of their bond. Also, I appreciate that much like in episode 94 with Liko, Meowscarada, and Hattrem, Dot realistically relies on her starter first as usual, but is ultimately forced to use her second Pokemon when things take a bad turn. In Dot's case, Quaxwell is defeated following Stunfisk's power boost via Strong Sphere. I like that Tinkatuff's time to shine, like Hattrem's, comes in a natural, organic, and believable way. It's not forced or shoehorned in just to give her screen time, which makes her success feel even more earned and deserved. Especially since in both cases, the second Pokemon's typing makes them better suited to the battle at hand. In Tinkatuff's case, she doesn't have the type advantage like Hattrem did, but she is at least not weak to electric like Quaxwell, which she puts to great use, charging forward undeterred by the storm of electricity thrown her way, with her trusty hammer and new move helping her carve the path forward and towards victory. I also love that, as always, Tinkatuff is simply hilarious, especially when she tries to turn Iono's camera into a hammer, prompting Quaxwell to stop her. I also love and appreciate that Tinkatuff doesn't terastalize just to use one move as is typical. Instead, she actually gets to use Terastal to battle for a good while, firing off multiple Metal Claws in the process. This is how it should be every time a Pokemon terastalizes. Dot being forced to rely on Tinkatuff also means that Quaxwell still gets time to shine. He isn't completely neglected in favor of Tinkatuff, and he fights well, cleverly in fact, thanks to Dot's expert command, taking advantage of his water typing via Aqua Cutter to deal super effective damage and clear away the mud Stunfisk uses to conceal itself and trap its enemies. Quaxwell even gets to be hilarious too, though not voluntarily. Seeing him get electrocuted, especially the picture of this Magyorō takes, just cracks me up. So Dot and her two Pokemon all get moments to shine, making this the ultimate Dot episode, perfect for marking her long overdue return to the spotlight. The battle itself is also solid, as well as thematically rich. Stunfisk initially leans into its natural battling style, trickery, elusiveness, and setting traps. But after being powered up by the Strong Sphere, it tosses that method aside in favor of brute force, speed, and relentless aggression. Both approaches make things difficult for both Quaxwell and Tinkatuff, especially in the tight confines of an alley, leading to a battle that feels tense and claustrophobic. Moreover, this stark shift in the way Stunfisk battles underscores the unnatural way strong spheres alter a Pokemon's instincts, demeanor, and battle style. And unlike episode 95, where no one seemed to notice or acknowledge these negative effects, Magyorō does. He realizes that his Stunfisk is no longer itself. It's lost the smile he loves so much, and it refuses to listen to him. These moments of clarity are powerful. He smashes the strong sphere and vows never to use one again. Him realizing the nefarious nature of strong spheres adds a lot of narrative value. Not everyone is blind to the dangers of strong spheres. There are people like Magyorō who can recognize the cost and change their ways, and this gives hope that others might too. Dot successfully overcoming a Pokemon boosted by a strong sphere, something Liko and Roy were unable to do, also proves that Exceed's nefarious tool of destruction is not all-powerful. It can be defeated, which provides further hope for the future. On a thematic level, the episode addresses the toxic side of social media culture through Magyorō. His obsession with views and validation leads to him abusing his Pokemon and chasing clout at all costs, even at the expense of other people and Pokemon. His redemption comes when he realizes the consequences of his actions, helped along by both Dot and Iono. This sends a message that fame without purpose or care is empty. Dot and Iono, being streamers themselves, but the good kind, makes them perfect messengers for this theme. Their approach to content creation is rooted in passion, respect, and authenticity, which reinforces who they are and why their dynamic works so well. Their relationship remains one of the best in the series, a mentor and disciple pairing with contrasting personalities that bounce off each other beautifully, leading to fun and entertaining interactions. Dot's admiration for Iono is as strong as ever, and it clearly motivates her to be better in more ways than one. Iono may not be physically present throughout the entire episode, which is unfortunate since she's busy with a stream, but she still contributes meaningfully. She's the one who messages Dot at the end of the previous episode, which is why Dot is in Levincia in this episode. Iono is also who shows her the footage of the troublemaking Stunfisk that sets this entire episode in motion. And later, remotely, she watches over Dot while cheering her on, and she guides Magyorō towards a better path by setting herself up as a goal he can aim for in order to prevent him from abandoning streaming altogether, while also acknowledging his admiration for her. This is not only commendable, but it also shows that energy and charm are not the only things she has an abundance of. Her heart and kindness are equally bountiful, as is her ability to motivate, lead, and inspire others. She even shows up at the end of the episode with a flying taxi Dot uses to reach Cortondo as fast as possible, since she will meet up there with Liko and the others. Iono is just the best. Here's hoping this isn't the last time we see her. Magyorō himself is difficult to dislike. Sure, he's the antagonist here, but his goofiness, sincere love for Stunfisk, and a misguided admiration for Iono give him depth. He's not evil, just lost. And his desire for clout stems from wanting recognition from someone he idolizes. The fact that he even wears a Stunfisk costume paired with his silly, over-the-top demeanor makes it difficult to take him too seriously and even more difficult to see him as a true villain. He is the perfect symbol of how admiration in the content creation space can become unhealthy. This episode isn't just about a beloved character stepping back into the spotlight after a long absence. It's also a sharp, heartfelt exploration of the world of content creation. So this is the perfect episode for Iono to return. Finally, I love that Magyorō recognizes Dot from her battle with Iono during the Terra training. This kind of continuity, bringing up events from dozens of episodes ago, is exactly what helps make this world feel alive and interconnected. It proves that even small moments and characters can leave an impression and ripple across the story in meaningful ways. So overall, this episode was funny, important, entertaining, meaningful, well-structured, and filled with strong themes and character moments. It's a fantastic blend of humor, emotion, action, and narrative relevance. Dot gets the spotlight she deserves and shines brighter than ever before, giving us what is perhaps her best episode yet. Tinkatuff also gets some much needed and deserved time to shine that definitively proves this arc hasn't forgotten about the second Pokémon. Something that makes me look forward to when Kilowattrel inevitably gets the same treatment. The battle was clever, tense, well-paced, and packed with personality, highlighting Dot's strategic style, showcasing both her Pokémon, and reinforcing the episode's core themes in a way that felt natural and impactful. Iono's return only sweetens the deal. She elevates everything in this episode. Her presence adds not just charm and energy, but also emotional weight and thematic richness. She brings out the best in Dot and anchors the episode's message with her signature flair. Also, the exploration of content creation culture through Magyorō adds a surprising level of depth that allows this episode to feel both relevant and thought-provoking, offering commentary that resonates beyond the world of Pokémon. This is easily one of the best episodes in Mega Voltage thus far. In fact, it's probably my favorite thus far, and I can only hope that this arc will continue to deliver this same level of quality going forward. If it does, then we are going to be eating very well for weeks to come. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, feel free to click the links on screen. And if you'd like to support the channel and help me keep making content like this, you can find ways to do so in the description below. Your support truly means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.